Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight. We are broadcasting from the Hardy Realty Studios in downtown Rome, Georgia on Broad Street, and we work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune. I am Roger Manus with Rome Business Radio.
I'm Alex Williams with the Floyd Chamber.
I'm Melba Hunter with Profile Custom Extrusions.
And I'm Holly Lynch with the Season Events.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. How are we doing?
Good.
Good for a rainy day.
Raining, I know, right?
Yeah, in our Hardy on Broad space here in downtown Rome, we got all this class, and we can look outside and see the nasty weather. But we're going to have a fun show regardless. Alex is our Floyd Chamber representative. How are you, Alex?
Good. It's been busy on the workforce front and a lot going on. I can't believe we're already into February.
Yeah, and that you are Director of Workforce.
Correct.
That's an impressive title. What exactly does it mean?
You know, workforce and wrapping everyone's mind around what it means. Governor Kemp actually, just after he got reelected in January, said his number one priority in the state is workforce development. And what does that mean is a whole complicated layers of, you got to have people, you got to have jobs. You got to have a good place to live. There are so many components that involve the workforce. You got to have an education system, and I think we're fortunate here in Floyd County to have good schools, good college and career academies, good technical college, and then our universities as well. So there's so many components and layers to what workforce is, and to get people prepared and ready for a qualified job. And we certainly have a lot of job openings in our community, but we got to get workers as well. And finding that talent and pool of workers is a challenge all around in our community, in our state, and really in our country.
So I know that's why you have invited Holly and Melba here to discuss workforce from, I guess, two different angles. Holly, you're a smaller business, and Melba, you're with a bigger one, but still Rome, Georgia home.
Yes.
So let's kind of get into that a little bit. Holly, you're with the Season Events.
Yes.
So just a big picture. First of all, what is it you guys do?
We do catering and event planning, offsite catering. So we don't have a restaurant like some of our other colleagues in the communities, but we do have an office and a kitchen over on Glen Milner. And for the first time, I think in 3 years, we are fully staffed. So let's not break it. Tread cautiously.
So fully staffed for you means what? How many people?
We have 13 that are every day in the office, 9 of which are full-time, 4 are part-time. And then we have seasonal staff, which kind of are ad hoc employees. And those are team members that come in like on the weekends, nights and weekends. It's their side hustle, and there's about 40 of them.
Okay, so you said you kind of knocked on wood, you're at full staff. Have you had trouble maintaining full staff? And if so, why? Touching on some of the things he pointed out?
A little bit, yes. I mean, some of it was, of course, because of the pandemic, we had to reduce our workforce because we couldn't do events and such. But then coming back from that, we got the opportunity to get back into the game pretty quickly because of, Governor Kemp's decisions, et cetera, but then getting staff sort of back into place in the right positions too. So having cooks, having chefs, having servers, having all the right people in place, and getting that back to the right group of people just kind of took us a little bit of time. So
you're the, back to the bigger picture, wedding receptions, parties, anniversaries,
correct.
Corporate gigs.
February is what we call gala season. It seems like we're doing everybody's either fundraiser, gala, heart of the community, booth museums, gala, et cetera. So that's a lot of what we do this time of year. Weddings and related, rehearsal dinners, showers, et cetera, are in the prettier months, spring, summer, fall, and then Christmas parties, corporate stuff as the year closes.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's shift gears here and talk about a little bit bigger business. Profile Custom Extrusions. Right?
Yes.
Well, I had to Google it. I thought I knew what it was. I did think I knew what it was, and I was partially right. But for people listening who do not know, what is an extrusion, Melba?
Well, don't feel bad, because before I started working for Extrusions, I didn't know what extrusion was. So I had to Google it too before I went to the interview, of course, just to make sure, I knew what I was talking about. But we do metal framing. I should say. We take the metal, we melt it down. So we have presses and that we melt everything down and whatever shape that they need, that the customer needs. Like, so we have daily and weekly shape reviews to see if it's something that we can actually provide for the customer. So we do that. We shape it out, we ship it out, and it goes everywhere. We have trucks that come pick it up. But door frames, I actually brought a list of everything that we do. Windows and doors, hurricane shutters, window treatments, trucks and buses, appliances, trailer and semi-trailers, RVs, and electrical and cable trays. So anything metal
Has a shape.
or aluminum has a shape, we can try and do. But that's mainly what those are mainly our customers, and we've honestly had them since, I want to say like 1960, 1980. We've had the same customer, so.
Wow. And your job title there is HR?
Yes, I'm HR.
So what is your workforce, to circle back around to?
Well, we've had people that have been there, I want to say before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we still have the same people. I think when I started, I was there 3 months, and a lady that was there 2 years before I was born had just retired.
Okay.
So I can tell you how, and we want to keep that same culture, I should say. So every time I interview someone, every time I bring somebody in, even me, this is my 7th month there. I'm retiring from there. I'm never going to leave.
Oh, wow.
I live in Powder Springs. I drive an hour to work. I love my job.
Wow.
Good for you.
So it's, and it's just, you want to go to work and you want to enjoy your job. You want to feel that, and we try to put that through everybody in the company.
What's the staff size?
Right now we're at 156.
Okay.
And that's including our salary employees. So that's including the office. That's including our managers and supervisors that are on the floor. It's about 104 for everybody else that is hourly employees.
What are you fully staffed, or do you have?
We are not.
Okay.
I'm missing about 16 positions that are key positions. But I will say one thing since I've been there that I have changed is we used to work with temp agencies. And let me not say used to, like we don't anymore. But I have kind of, I guess, taken over direct hiring. And I feel that we get to meet the employees versus a temp agency. They just send you who they have, which I used to work for a temp agency. I worked for North Georgia Staffing. And I understand, you want to get bodies, you want to get, your clients as many people. But when I have to sit there and interview them and understand exactly what they want to do, what they need to do, we bring out it's a better outcome, from someone coming in and I don't want to work here. It's too hot, or I don't want to work here. I'm on my feet, or I got to wear steel toe boots and things like that. We lose them after a day or a week.
And I'll add into this, and this is not just a unique issue dealing with profile. It's so many companies and manufacturing companies specifically around the country. FMP in Profile, FMP, a few others. They're a part of an entity we have here in Floyd County called GREA, the Greater Rome Existing Industries Association, as a part of a chamber, and we collaborate all the time on things, whether it was supply chain issues during COVID, what was going on, and workforce is now a big thing. And it's a lot of energy and effort that these companies go through for the onboarding process. And then for somebody, time, energy, and effort, and say 2 weeks later or 1 week later, I don't want to go do this. I want to go somewhere else. Exactly. So I think what Melba's saying is really getting to know the applicant and the person coming through the door. They want to be a part of a good culture, is important. And it's certainly a challenge to retain and keep people when there's for every there's one Georgian for every 3 job openings right now. So, or 2.9 job openings. So there people can be more selective on where they want to work these days.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, from your perspective, the culture of these human connections is important to creating a good team.
Yes, very much.
But you've only been there a few months yourself, right?
Right, but I've been in HR for 15 years.
Yes.
So it's
But the few months you've been there, have you noticed that turnover has gone down as you have changed this this hiring philosophy?
Absolutely. I'm talking to the managers and the supervisors so much, and I'm checking on the applicants too, which a lot of companies don't do that. They'll have you come in and that's your first time ever seeing HR is when you came in the door.
Yeah.
Or unless you have an issue or your check is wrong.
Yeah.
Or,
they only see you if there's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, going on the floor, checking on them, how you doing? How you liking it? Is it, anything that is it different from your other job? Is it anything that we can change? I think that's very important. And the employees want to be heard. If you go for a company, you just feel like you're a number, that's, I don't want to work here. I just, they don't care about us. And we get a lot of that. And we are union. We are a union company, which that plays a factor. And even I have the union smiling. I mean,
It's impressive.
It's a process. They say we're so happy that we have someone that understands, and I understand the company. I understand the employee, which is represented by the union. And we're like on the same page now. At first it was like, your child going to the mom, going to the dad. And then I'm going back and forth and I'm like, well, they said this. Well, no, well, you said, well, mom said, well, and that's kind of how it used to be. But now it's, okay, let me just talk to the union. Let me, figure it out. And we'll, so.
That's all.
What you said about employees being heard is so important. And I think that's a big factor in why our crew it loves their job. And when I say we're back to full staff, it's not because people left. It's because we didn't have the work. And now that we've got the work, everybody's kind of back. My crew is kind of the same way. They like feeling like they can contribute to the success of the product. Absolutely. And when they have a good idea or any idea, they feel comfortable sharing it. They feel comfortable coming to me or coming to our vice president. If they don't want to come to me, they go to her and share their thoughts and ideas, and it makes their workday better when they are standing on their feet and doing things that are slightly unpleasant. I mean, washing dishes is not glamorous, but it's a big part of what happens in our day. And for you guys, you're standing on your feet in a hot factory sometimes. So.
Well, you said that you also have a large crew that comes in to actually execute events. Right. Are those the same people over and over as well?
They've been the same people. Mostly. I mean, we get, it's a season for everybody, pun intended. But we have folks, I've been in business 15 years. I have folks that still come out on Saturdays and Tuesday nights for whatever the gig is who've been with me from the beginning. Because they love it. They're a CPA by day or a stay-at-home mom, but this is a great outlet for them. And they have a blast at these events. They don't care that it's serving food to 450 and washing up after. They have a good time with it, and a lot of it is because of the relationships that we have as a team. So sometimes it's your groups are getting what's what I'm looking for, where everybody sort of crosses over. So I have a retired professor from Barry. I have a retired financial aid officer from Barry. So they both found themselves in an event one day and were like, oh, you're doing this now? And so they get to see each other again, but in a completely different environment. And it's most of the time fairly low stress. So.
And when did you start the company? How long have you been in business?
March will be 16 years for us.
Okay. So growing pains over the years, and then pandemic pains and all that?
We've enjoyed all of those.
So how have you navigated that?
A wing and a prayer? No. Mostly with trying to, honestly, I rely on the people around me. The best advice I was ever given was surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. So in some cases that meant more talented, more dedicated, better ideas, bigger ideas, and relying on those folks and learning from them and teaching each other, and then always, always, always doing what is right. So I've always felt like if the customer knows that I'm going to make the best decision in their interest, or the best decision I can make in their best interest, and my employees know that we're looking out for them as well, we value them, we want to pay them well, we dress them well, we want them to feel like they're important, almost as much so as the customer is as important. In balancing that, I think that's how we've been able to grow, is we treat our customers like family, we treat our employees like family.
Same with us. That's the same exact thing that we do.
Yeah.
It's more like, and I actually wrote that down, like it's more like a family. We've had the same customers, the same employees. It's the same routine daily, but with, of course, the world culture changing overall, it's kind of like we have to adapt, and that's kind of, what we do. but it's always their best interest. And, we have our customer service team that deals with, the customers, but we all see them. If the customers come in, they want to do a tour, we're all polite. We all talk to them. We're not, our policy is open door policy. We keep our doors open. So we speak to everybody, and the employees are the same. Like, they know the customers know the employees. Some people want to move up in a company, and then some people love their job and they just want to stay where they are because that's what they've been doing for so long. And the customers know that. So it's that combination of.
I never worry if my sort of lowest level employee, that sounds terrible, but like if my dishwasher, who's a part-time employee, I never worry if they want to go speak to the customer. I have no qualms with that. You don't either, right?
No, not at all.
I got that feeling. So I completely think that the family-friendly atmosphere has helped us retain employees too.
Absolutely.
They're not always looking for a bigger paycheck. That's nice. But a lot of times it's the flexible schedule or more time off, or you have employees who don't want to move up. They like what they do.
Absolutely.
We have that too. They like where they're at. They don't give them a key to the building. They don't want it.
I don't want to do that much work. I love what I do. I come in, I clock out, and I do my work.
Well, to Alex's point about the workforce numbers now being skewed, where there's more jobs than there are people, does that put you in almost a recruiting mindset? And how do you recruit, or do you look for, there is a point in time sometimes in the economy where people are banging down your door looking for work and you don't have anything to offer, but it seems a little bit flipped right now. So how do you approach that?
Let's see. Well, since I've been there, I've utilized Indeed tremendously. Honestly, every job that I've had, I've used Indeed. I've used my social network. I've used Instagram. I've used, to reach anybody that wants to work. Word of mouth. I do that. Call me. Hey, here's my card. I pass that out all the time. I'm always recruiting. I think I went to the doctor the other day, and while I'm sitting there filling out my paperwork, I was giving my card out. I mean, it's just.
Statistically, you have such a large workforce that you're going to have openings.
Yes.
A lot, often.
Yes.
Routinely
Not
you'll
as
have
much
openings.
as we had before.
Not as much as before, but just statistically, you'll have some job openings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll say even some larger companies, they want to try and get people in the door. So if they can obtain an email address, just an email address, then they can get that person to show up on time and come out and then fill out an application in person, and then they can obtain all the rest of the information. Some companies will consider that a win.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so how mindsets change, and I think a lot of young people want the instant gratification where they do see, Walmart the other day is increasing their wages to $17 or $18 an hour minimum. Amazon and even McDonald's is way up above 15 in certain places. So they see sometimes this instant gratification, whereas they aren't seeing the benefits and salary and all the other components that come with a lot of companies.
The culture,
Yes.
the life happiness.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when people come to our kitchen and we're not screaming at each other and the place is clean, and generally speaking, we can get our cooking done, in the weekday. We work every Saturday, pretty much always, but we're closed on Sundays. We generally don't take events on Sundays. Most of the time we can do that. In 2020, we took events whenever they came to us, but we can set some boundaries so that people do have a way of scheduling their personal lives. And that's not something they're going to get at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Necessarily.
It's funny. I'm a sports guy. Everything y'all are talking about is how championship teams develop a locker room culture. The everybody has a role on the team. The quarterback touches the ball more than the punter,
right?
But both jobs are important, and this locker room culture can lead to championships. And y'all are winning championships every day.
Yes.
Will you follow my analogy there?
Yes, we got you.
I'm not so much on the sports, but I'm there.
Yeah. That's definitely important too. Insurance, benefits. What can you offer me that And like you said, they have their pick. If they want to go here, if they want to go here, how much do you pay an hour? But then some people are like, well, they pay a little more, but they don't have the benefits, or they don't have Sundays off,
right.
So, they definitely want to still be able to balance their work life with their home life and to have that, but also cover if you go to the doctor or if your child has to go to the doctor. Because a lot of companies are like, I don't want to touch insurance. Let's all just have part-time people. We don't have to offer insurance. I've worked for companies like that too. And, we have to have insurance.
We're small enough that we're still under we don't have to offer health insurance.
Right.
However, with my full-time employees, I have tried to give them some health, a financial health benefit, so to speak, so that there is something there. It's not necessarily health insurance, but there's resources, both financial and professional consultants who are available to help them navigate the healthcare.gov websites to help maybe offset some copays or expenses. We do have PTO, so you can take time off if you need to. We've had employees have babies while they've been working with us, and we try to make sure that their job is protected. We cover for each other when we've had extended absences because of family illness or family death. It happens, and we're a tiny business, so FMLA doesn't apply to us. We are not required to have health insurance, but we will fight tooth and nail for each other if something terrible has happened or something joyful has happened, like a new baby, to kind of help people get through that, both financially and from a job safety perspective.
Yeah, and that's very important when they know that they have the company supporting them, behind them, and it's not, you don't want your employee to feel nervous,
right? Or like scared, a number,
or exactly, like a number. They can come and talk to me anytime. I'm like, if my door is closed, just knock, have a seat. I'm dealing with somebody else, but I had to learn it the hard way, because my door will be open and I'll be talking to somebody because they don't have to close the door, but then everybody will just start walking in and they're just standing there, and I'm like,
now we're having group counseling.
Exactly. So, just to know that you're there, and then I let them talk. I sit there and I just sometimes they just want to vent, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. It's not always, peaches and roses. It's not at your place either. There's times that we get, like any family, we're frustrated with each other. Mm-hmm. But 9 times out of 10, we're more concerned than we are aggravated.
Yeah.
Well, and Alex, to your point, workforce issues. I know one of the reasons you invited these two businesses is because they are different size businesses. Mm-hmm. So from a total compensation package for employees, they have to approach it from a different mindset. Holly's business is smaller. Larger business over here with the Extrusions. So from the chamber perspective, I guess that's indicative of the gamut of different businesses having to do things a different way based on their size, right?
Absolutely.
As they attract workforce.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes I think we're fortunate. I mentioned GRIA earlier, where we can come together and companies with similar challenges can realize, oh, you're doing this. Oh, I need to emulate that. And I think that's a great environment we have at the chamber, and we do offer to some small businesses. And Carly and a few other of my coworkers could speak more to it than I can about a 401k plan and some insurance plans as well that we can help assist with. But in the scheme of things, I think having that collaboration and understanding other businesses, similar businesses in the community, are facing similar challenges all the time, and to come together to talk about it and figure out what works and what may not work. And then even, a component, I just think about childcare. That's a huge issue on the workforce front, and most communities don't have enough childcare facilities. And what do you do when a worker has a sick child and things can go from, oh, I'm showing up to work, or no, I got to go home and deal with another case. And I think you got to have the right workplace culture to be able to handle those challenges on a day-to-day basis.
What is the, and I think the technical term is the onboarding process. Somebody applies for a job, they want to come work for you. How do they take us through the process? First, from your perspective there, Melba.
Well, like I said, we use Indeed. Job fairs. We just had one.
That's how Melba and I actually met, was through, we had a company in Polk County that unfortunately was shutting down a plant, laying off 107 people. And when I got word of it, I called my counterpart in Bartow County and said, "Hey, we've got manufacturers here that need workers. Why don't we go see if this plant would our companies could benefit from obviously this terrible news of a plant closure in neighboring county?" And sure enough, we had 30 plus companies show up to a job fair to recruit and hire. And I'm happy to report they got news a week before Christmas that this plant was closing. And February 4th was going to be the last date with severance and everything else. Over 80% of the workforce, the 107 employees, already have a new job as of today. The rest took severance and wanted to spend some time with family and travel. 2/3 of the workforce is Spanish speaking, and so they went back to family in Latin America just for the holidays and for a few things. But getting some upskills and getting some people trained through GNTC was another aspect. But Profile and Melba were able to get some new employees, which is nice, and the goal of that job fair, and it was ended up being a success over a bad situation turned okay.
Yeah, I handed out. I'm not sure, I forgot the guy's name, their HR, but he had wrote letters for them.
Their plant manager.
Yeah, their plant manager.
Greg Webb wrote a recommendation letter for every single one of his employees. I think having that culture of knowing all his employees and trying to help them find a new job. And Greg actually found a new job as well through it all. So it worked out.
So some of them landed with you.
Yes. I had them come in. And and that's another thing I don't ever want to pressure anybody and make them feel like you have to take this job. I share with them. I let it become their idea. If this is something that you really want to do, take it home. Think about it. Here's some information on the company. And a lot of people reached back out. I reached out to a few people. I didn't press them out. They came in. They either had their application already filled out or they filled it out there. They did our little short math test. I interviewed with them on the spot if I was able to. If not, we set up an interview. They came in. I sort of, because I used to work for North Georgia, because I used to work for a staffing company, I've kind of brought that in. So we do our own drug screens. Don't send them out anywhere. We do our own background checks. Wait for them to come back. I let them do, which I think is very, very important, a tour of the plant. So you see where you're working at. You see what they are doing, what you would possibly be doing, depending on which position or which shift that you take. And I think that's important versus with the temp agencies, because they don't know where they're going. They just show up. I'm supposed to wear steel-toe boots and glasses and plugs, and that's all I'm doing. And then that's how we lose people. But when you give them a tour, when you let them meet the supervisors and all that, that's a part of a very important part of the hiring process, because then I know if you're going to fill out fill out the paperwork, and if you're going to come back, and if, so I think that's very important. And I think that has what has retained everybody, and then being polite, of course, throughout the whole process, because even if we have bad days, you don't want them to know that, because then they know, I got to come deal with this attitude every day, or I have to, because it's out there, but, you just have to, be polite and be, through the whole process. And it makes them want to come back. It makes them feel welcomed. And that's, from the first time we talk at the job fair up until your first paycheck, or your last paycheck, whatever. But we want to make sure that we're very polite and we're very, welcoming.
And how have you built your staff over the years?
Our most recent hire was referral from a restaurant that had closed, and that former chef knew that I was looking for another cook, and she called me and said, "Hey, I ran into this person and they're still looking for a job, and are you still hiring?" And I'm like, "Yes, send him my way." And he walked to my office for the interview, and we all kind of noted that. We have a lot of glass in our office, like this space here. So we kind of noted that he didn't drive and he walked. And of course, in our business, we have to drive to events. And so this was like a little moment. But I thought a person who walks to a job must either really want the job and really like the job, because that's a lot of dedication. It's like driving from Powder Springs.
Absolutely.
That's dedication. So he came in for the interview. He was qualified, came by referral, which is always, 2 ticks in the box already because it's basically checking a background and knowing that he has some experience. And then we chatted. We give a tour. Same thing. We want you to see. Of course, our tours, I'm sure, are shorter than yours. But we show them around the kitchen. We show them what the grilling area looks like. We show them what the outdoors are. We tell them about how it works. That we're here. We make the food. We prep the food. We do all the things. And then come the day of the event, we go to the event and finish anything that needs to be finished. And interact a lot of times with customers and guests, and then clean it all up, bring it all back, and then start over the next day. And show that same, the tour is, I think, a big deal. Like, this is what our kitchen looks like. It's not dark. It's not dirty. It's, you have space for your personal items. You have lockers. We have here's where the coolers are. Here's where our dirty dish zone is. Meet all the people, talk to all the folks. And they see that we're friendly and we're polite most of the time. And we all have our moments. And that it's a fun, nice work environment. And then we also give them the opportunity to say back, what questions do you have for us? What piece of the pie are we not providing that you need? So some of the things that we've chatted through have been like, meals at restaurants that people pay for their lunch when they're on the clock, or some prorated version of that. We supply, if you are at work during a mealtime, we supply a meal. We're already cooking food. So
awesome.
Lunches are always provided. If we're at an event and it's dinner time, you're always going to get dinner. So that's one sort of side benefit, I guess, that isn't necessarily a financially tangible type of thing, but it does play out in the long run. So with this gentleman that we had just hired, the walking part kind of was still that red flag for me. And I was like, hey, we saw that you walked here. Is that going to be a hardship for you? And he was like, no, I live close. I don't mind walking. It's fine. Well, of course, now, he's one of us. He's drank the season events Kool-Aid, and he doesn't walk to work anymore. Somebody's always picking him up or taking him home, because that's just how we do, Absolutely. So we're not going to let somebody be stuck in this cold, dreary rain. So.
Well, let's kind of go around and get final thoughts and more specifically contact information for you guys, for anybody that might be interested in working with you or using your services. Website, social media, where email addresses, phone numbers, whatever you want to give. Melba, we'll start with you.
Oh, of course, start with me. As I'm pulling.
Do we want to start with Holly?
It's fine. Well, we are. Our address is 100 Anderson Road. Right off, if I believe, I'm not I say Romanian because I'm from Powder Springs.
well, we're Romans. But we're not Romanians.
Romans, there we go. So I'm not a Roman.
You're a Powder Springian.
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, I'm originally from D.C., so all of Georgia is new to me, but definitely Rome. So I believe that's 75, like off of 75. Is that 75?
Profile's off 27.
27. Okay.
75 is a big interstate.
Okay, so yeah, 27. So we're
right south of downtown. Yeah.
But you can walk in and do applications. If I'm there, you can meet me, speak to me. You may get an on-site interview, and I might start you the same night. We'll see.
That's right. We've done that.
Exactly. But we do have a website. Yes, profile. Extrusions.com. You can mhunter@pcextrusions.com is my email. Our phone number is 706-234-7558. My direct line is 706-413-4189. Leave a message. I always get back to everyone. But the best way, we like it if you're able to walk in and get because then we can meet you, we can see you, and depending on what I'm doing, you might get an interview right then and there. So
you might be into some earplugs and some steel-toed tooth 5 minutes later.
Exactly.
Provided you're not driving up and down 75 looking for the office.
Exactly.
All thanks. You can find us. The easiest way, obviously, to see what we do and how we do it is social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty active there, and it's at the Season Events. You can look for our little green swirl logo, and it's there. Our website is the same, theseasonevents.com, and contact information is on the site. We do have an office in Cartersville as well, but generally it's staffed only by appointment. And then you can reach out by email or call us at the office. All the info is on the web, and we often are looking for extra people who want to do side hustle work.
Yep.
They might work a couple Saturdays a month. They might work at Christmas time 5 days a week. So you just don't know how that might go. But if you're looking for a fun little side hustle, we do have a great crew, a lot of fun. We work hard, and everybody takes care of each other. But at the end of the day, we're laughing and most of the time having a good time.
And having good food.
And excellent.
Alex, contact information, final thoughts from the chamber?
You can go to romega.com and click on our business directory, and you can see all our chamber members, including profile and the season events as well. So we have great members, but we're just located 1 Riverside Parkway and on Broad Street, the corner of Broad Street. 706-291-7663 is our phone number. And we just appreciate all of our chamber members and all the work going on and continuing to grow here in Rome and Floyd County.
And I think I got through the show without saying excursions for extrusions because I was so worried about it. Extrusion. Yes. Did I get through it okay? Or did
yes, you did. You did perfect.
Okay. So I was afraid at some point I would just say it. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Alex. This has been fun. You've been listening to the Rome Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight here on Rome Business Radio. I'm Roger Manus. We broadcast from the Hardy Realty Studios on Broad Street in downtown Rome, Georgia, and we work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune. Thank you so much for listening.